Good morning, dear Stitchers. It's Judy with JBW Designs, and I want to welcome you back to my Flosstube channel. Today is January 10th, Friday, and this is Flosstube number 87. And it has been quite a while since I recorded a video. Actually, exactly a month. And that wasn't my intention. I always have good intentions that, when I finish the last one, I'm sure that there will be time to do another one in 2 weeks. And of course, that didn't happen. But it is what it is, right? I come back when I can and when I have the time to do so. So, first of all, I always like to start out by thanking you, not only for taking the time to watch because you have so many choices, but also for writing such wonderful comments and sending cards and sending emails. I just really appreciate your friendships, and you really are a blessing in my life. So thank you again, and thank you for subscribing and liking and all of the things that we do with other Flosstubers. So what's happening here? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of where I want to begin. I'm going to start out with some cards and letters that I received, so happy mail. And then I have a question for you. I need your advice on something that occurred. And then, as always, I have pictures to share with you of finishes that other people have done of my work. And then I usually have a theme for the day, so I kind of follow a bit of a formula when I do my floss tubes, but I'm hoping that you are settled back with some stitching today or this evening or in the next couple days, and that you can write notes if you have questions of things that I talk about that you wonder about. So please do that. I always love to answer those in future videos. So first of all, I'm going to show you some wonderful cards that I received. This was from Davy, and she wrote a sweet note about something that she's working on that I've kind of been trying to give her a little advice on. And here's a card from Teresa, who is from Jersey Girl Stitch Company, and she's a friend that I made through Flosstube. I just feel, as I said, so lucky about all the people that I've met through this channel. This card was from Merritt, who is also does floss tubes, and her floss tube is So Just Because. And she wrote a sweet note about a trip that we'd taken and some pieces that she had purchased at an antique store. So it was a fun memory for both of us. Here is a note from Sarah, and as I say, it's so much fun to hear from people. This was a card that was made by Lisa, and she lives down in Virginia and has sent me several notes, helping me actually decide when we went on our trip where we should go. I also received a card from the famous duo of Steph and Pam, which was fun to get from them. And let's see. And this was a wonderful note from Barbara. She and I have been corresponding the last couple weeks, and it's so nice just to have that correspondence going back and forth. And then the last one, this is so interesting to me because this is an email that I received, and it is from my friend Inez in Lisbon, Portugal. And I think it's so interesting, the reach of floss tubes. And sometimes I want to ask you, like, where are you from? Because I'm always stunned when I get a note from England, or in this case from Portugal, and I just think it's wonderful. Our world has expanded, hasn't it? So she wrote, and she just told me about what she's been doing lately, and she must have a very stressful job, because she wrote and said she hoped that she had more time for stitching this year. And then she said, I will continue to see you on Flosstube videos here on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. So thank you, Inez. That really meant a lot to me. And I also received, and I don't know where I put the card, I think I put it with my other Christmas cards and forgot to pull it out. But I also received a wonderful card from Laura of Laura and Brenda fame, and she sent me these darling little floss cards. Doesn't that just look like Laura? She just has such a eye for vintage pieces, so thank you. So the thing that I need the advice on, and as a designer, sometimes things happen that are kind of out of our control, but sometimes it's hard to know how to respond. So I'll give you some background. I received a letter this week from a gal, again from overseas. I'm not sure, her last name sounded Greek to me, but I'm not sure. She didn't say where she was from. But she had purchased 2 of my booklets. Actually, the booklets, she had purchased 2 of, I don't have it right at hand here, 2 of the ornament booklets. And she'd purchased them from a shop, an online shop in Italy, who I'm familiar with. And she was writing to tell me, and it was a very pleasant letter, but she was very discouraged because the price that she was charged for the booklets she thought was unusually high. And that was my dilemma, is how I responded to her, but I may write to her again. How do I respond to that? Because the price that I set on all of my products is the price that the shops pay, and it's also the price that the distributors pay. So in our business, it's kind of maybe a bit unusual. Some of our sales go directly through our shops, and some go through our distributors, which means they get the designs from many, many designers, and the shops order through the distributors. Sometimes it's more cost effective for the shops to order through the distributors, because then they can put many orders in one order and one postage. So this is a long description to tell you. So she felt that the price was way too high. And what I wrote to her and said is, once my products are purchased, the price that is set by a shop, either a brick and mortar shop or an online shop, is really out of my control. And she was, upset about the price. She thought it was way too high, and that it's just a dilemma. It's like, how do I answer tactfully? So if you have advice for how you would handle it, I may write back to her. And I just don't like to leave hard feelings with anyone about the products that I produce. So that was just a glitch in a day this week. So anyhow, let's move on. So there are so many people who have been posting pictures of my designs, either on Instagram or on my friend's page. And some of my pictures are very tiny to show you. Just one memento here. But some of the finishes are just so gorgeous. I'm just so excited about when I see something. So I'm going to try to show this up close, and I'll try to hold it there for a minute. So this is actually Eliza's French Birds, and it was finished by Lisa, and she finished it with the most beautiful, I'm going to try to get it even closer, beaded trim around the edges. And she treated it as a Christmas decoration, which I thought was just brilliant, and put it in a little bowl with green apples, or ornaments. Actually, they're little ornaments. They're green ornaments. But I thought it was just stunning. So it's always fun to see how people use the design, and again, how they finish it. And so that particular piece, of course, as you know, is from this booklet, Eliza's French Birds. So sometimes I'm showing booklets that I've shown before, but I do have new viewers every time that I do a Flosstube. And so I'm hoping that, perhaps they'll see something that they hadn't seen before. So I'm going to veer off just a little bit in my descriptions today to talk to you about the term blessings samplers. And I don't know if you've heard of this before. I actually heard of it several years ago and followed through on it. And I'm not even sure who came up with this idea. It might have been Nicola with Hands Across the Sea. But basically, this is a description of a blessing sampler. A young girl would start and finish a sampler in the month of January. It was said to bring blessings upon her household for the coming year. And it has kind of taken hold. And so if on Instagram you'll often see, or on other Facebook pages, people saying, oh, I'm doing this as my blessing sampler for the month of January. So part of my theme today is going to be showing you samplers that you could do as a blessing sampler. So I'll show you several that appeared just in the last week. So this is from Gail, and she has chosen Flights of Fancy, which came out last March, for her blessing sampler. And I was so excited to see that she had chosen it. And this, of course, is what Flights of Fancy looks like. It was actually a part of an antique sampler that I purchased over a year ago. And it was probably one of my most popular designs last year. And then, as always, I'm inspired by all of you. This is another Instagram post, and this is from heart_to_stitch, and she finished the Christmas in the round in a little white tin. And of course, I loved that finish. And of course, that is from let me uncover this, the Christmas in the Round booklet. And some of these are repeats, but it's fun to see the finishes. This particular one was done by Davy, and she did stitching in the round, and she said that she loves to finish with hoops, and she used a beautiful little pom-pom trim for the trim around the edges. And of course, stitching in the round, it would be a beautiful, great design to stitch as your blessing sampler this month. It's doable, you could get it done easily. All right, then the next picture that I have to show you was really a fun one. I always get excited when I see the finishes. And this is from Susan, and she finished the Twas the Night series. Now this set, I'm going to try to bring that closer, is actually quite old. It came out in 2009. So it's not an antique yet, but as you can see, it was I designed it quite a while ago. And it's actually a series of 4 books. And let me point to this here. Each booklet has 3 designs in it, and it takes lines from the Twas the Night poem. Well, many people don't realize that this can be combined. Instead of doing them separately as ornaments, it can be combined into one design. And I have a PDF file which I send to you for free. You just have to write to me and say, Judy, I want that file. And what the file is it is the chart for the border that goes around the edge of all of those designs. And then it also shows the placement of each design in that whole piece. So the Twas the Night booklets, let's see here, look like this. So as I say, there are 4 different booklets, and each one has 3 designs in it, and they were originally finished as ornaments. But I think, yes, on the last 3 booklets, on the back of the booklet, I show you what it looks like if it's stitched as a single piece. So that might inspire someone. It's way past Christmas, but I forgot to wish you Happy New Year. I just thought of that. Happy New Year, everyone. 2025. That sounds, I don't know why that number sounds very unusual to me. I'm getting used to it, right? So this is another one, and it was stitched by Faye for her sister as a Christmas gift, and this is called Floral Alphabet. And I was so tickled that she sent me a picture of it. She did a beautiful job, And Faye, I hope your sister just loved it. And this is what the Floral Alphabet booklet looks like. And again, that's an older design, but I find with my viewers that you don't really care when the piece was published. If you like it, you want to stitch it, right? So here's another one that's being done as a blessing sampler. And this was on Instagram also. Again, a very small picture, but this is from C.S. Daniels. And she is doing, I'll show you, whoops, not the back, I'll show you the front. This is When Cardinals Appear, which was probably tied with the Flights of Fancy for the most popular designs from last year. So I will tell you that I'm working on designs for our Nashville market, which is at the beginning of March. Actually, I have 7 done, and I will give you some hints on what I'm working on in a little while here. So I had several people, one on Instagram and one in my friend's page, who sent pictures or posted pictures of finishes of some of my ornaments. Now this one was on Instagram, and this is by Michelle, and she has a company that is called, let's see, oh, I have to think of it. I just sent her thing. My Finishing Touch LLC. You know what? I'm going to write myself a note and make sure I look that up and put it in my notes below, because she does just beautiful work. Don't ask me why. You know I'm not very tech savvy, but I wasn't able to print a picture of the whole stocking that she finished for some of her customers. But she had finished the Stitcher stocking, the Sampler stocking, and a Bristol stocking. And I loved seeing those. And then I also had another friend, one of my Flosstube friends, Carrie, and she sent a picture of this, which I mentioned, I think, in an earlier video, again at Christmas. She chose ornaments out of my Christmas ornament booklets, and then she found these little frames at Michael's. So put that on your list for next year. They have wonderful little frames, and they're perfect for finishing the tiny, tiny ornaments. And so, Carrie, I love what you did with that. And she took the ornaments that she stitched out of my ornament collection booklets. And then this is from Karen. This actually, again, is an older design, but her finishing is just exquisite. I just sent her some work also. So this is called Santa's Sleigh Ride, and she finished it as a flat and as a hanger to put up at Christmas time. I loved her finish. She chose just a beautiful fabric for the backing, and her little velvet ribbon and the pearl pin at the top. Karen, that's just fabulous. So this is what that design looks like, Santa's Sleigh Ride. And then I have, I'm sorry about the Christmas things, but it's just what, I will stop Christmas soon, I promise. This is just what happened this last month. So this is, you know what, I forgot to write down who this is from, so I hope you'll forgive me. But she sent a picture of a design. It's called Christmas Motif Sampler 2, and she changed it up quite a bit. So instead of doing it as a monochromatic piece, she added red to the bows and to the date and to her initial at the bottom. So thank you, Elle. I'm sorry that I forgot to record that. And then the last piece that I have to show with you, share with you, is this, which is going to be, again, hard to see, but this was done by Mrs. Stitcher and posted on Instagram, and she took the Bluebird sampler and she has finished it as a bag. And as I say, I love seeing what people have done and how clever you all are. So of course that is the Bluebird of Happiness sampler, which came out about 2 years ago. So those were the wonderful shares that I got this month of pieces that were done by our viewers, and I just love them. So I'm going to set those out of the way, and I'm going to show you one thing that I purchased. I've actually been ordering quite a bit of fabric to use in some of my new models, and I love French General, and many of you are familiar with this. So you can go on their website, FrenchGeneral.com, and this is from, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. I'm going to show you the fabric, and this is from the collection. I'm going to put this up here so you can read it. And if I try to pronounce these two words, I will just make such a mess of it. So I'm going to have you just look at that, because the prints that are in this are primarily reds and creams, and they're just fabulous. So I always love getting their fabric. So that was one of the things that I purchased for myself. And then she has a new collection out that I can pronounce that's called Antoinette, and I'll show you on the back. It's a combination again of her beautiful soft reds, blues, creams. Their fabrics are just fabulous. And so this one hasn't actually arrived yet. It's on back order, but as I say, if you go to their website, you'll be able to see what they have, and you can order fairly small amounts, and this wasn't that costly. I think this was a half yard, and it's just so worth it. I just love their fabrics. So my theme today, as I mentioned before, is going to be kind of a variety of things. It's going to be thinking about a blessing sampler, thinking about red, and thinking about Valentine's Day. So I pulled out samplers that I thought fit all of these qualities, and I'm going to start sharing those with you. Now, some of these that I'm going to start with in the beginning, I don't have the models to show you. I have two trunk shows that are out right now. One was actually down in Virginia at Liberty Hill, which is a fairly new shop. I think it's just 2 years old. I saw pictures of it recently. It looks fabulous. And so my trunk show, some of my models are at that shop, and then I just sent off a new trunk show this week to Keepsakes in Cincinnati because they have a retreat. So I'm going to show you pictures of ideas that I have for you. So I mentioned this before. I think stitching in the round would make a great blessing sampler. Here's another one that I want to share with you. I don't have the model of. This is called With Love. And it's made up obviously of roses in a heart shape. This one is finished over one and was finished as a pin. And then it was also, if I can show you here, it was also finished over two and finished as a box, a stand-up. So that would be a Valentine idea for you. I also think alphabet in the round would make a great Valentine's gift. And some people have done this instead of doing it all in one color, they've done it in two colors, or they've taken their last initial and stitched just their last initial in a second color. And this one I want to show you, which came out a year ago, is called, well, let me show you the front of the book first. Fleur de Alphabets. I worked it in blues, but I have seen it worked in reds and pinks. And this is what that design looks like as a whole. And I think it would be stunning in red and pink. I worked it on a 36 count Edinburgh linen in antique white. And it looks quite large, but I think you could do it. You could do it. I know you could. And then my last thing that I wanted to show you is a booklet that came out a year ago, and it is, and I'm going to be hard pressed here. I think if I turn the pages carefully, I can show you the designs without showing you the charts, so I might be a little awkward here. But this is called My Heart to You is Given, and it's actually a collection of a number of my heart designs. So let me start with this one. So it has Love in the Round is in this booklet. All right, let's see what else is here. French Country Amour is in this booklet. And I'm just going to pull out, that's a separate booklet, but it would be much more cost effective for you to buy this booklet, which has so many designs in it. All right, let's keep moving and hopefully I can show you. The piece on the cover is called Dove Heart, and that was actually designed especially for this booklet. I showed you the Love in the Round. All right, this was a kit from, gosh, 5 or 6 years ago called Love Always. Whoops. And that is included in this booklet. This is an adaptation of another design that I'm going to show you. This I called, let's see, sorry, it's waving in the breeze here. My heart is given to you. And so I took the French Country Love design and I redesigned it in a smaller format. That would make a nice Valentine's gift. And then the booklet that I just showed you, the With Love, is also included in this collection. And then there's one more that I designed specifically for this booklet, and it's called Hearts in the Round. So I thought you might get a kick out of seeing that because it's been a while since I've shared that with you. All right, so now let me pull some more things for you. Since I mentioned this one, I'm going to show you what this one looked like originally. So this is French Country Love, and again, it's been out for a while. It looks so much better, doesn't it, when you see the model than when you see the picture on the cover. This was worked on a 28 count linen over 2, and the finished size is about almost 5 inches square. So that would be a very doable design to do. I am very low on this booklet actually in my stock right now, but I just ordered reprints of it and I should have them in a couple of days. So you know, always ask your shops if they can get these things for you. This is one of my shops this last week just posted this on their website. I keep finding more booklets in my pile here. And it is a kit that was called Ode to Red. Let's see if I can show you. And it was a little stand-up. And she said, wouldn't this be a perfect gift for Valentine's Day? And I thought, oh, she's right. That would be lovely. And so the fabric that I used to finish this is a Motif fabric. It's included in the kit. And the kit also includes, let's see here, the floss for the cording, 32 count Belfast linen. I used 2 separate ribbons in the finishing. Let me hold that up while I talk to you. There's a pearl straight pin that I used, or my finisher used, to attach one of the ribbons. There's a booklet in here with complete finishing instructions, and I also included the comic board in the kit. So if you didn't have time to finish it, it would be a great gift for a friend. So that's Ode to Red. All right, now I have to look in my pile here. So I went through my models. I love red samplers. I just designed a new red sampler for Nashville, and I'm very excited about it. It's at the framers right now. I don't know, sometimes I just get excited about what's coming out. So this design that I'm going to show you has elements that you could use for smalls. So first I'm going to show you the finished piece. This is called an elegant alphabet. And again, when I do many of these designs, I'm using elements that I find from antique samplers. So the swans were from an antique sampler, the bird with the letter in hand, or in beak rather, the borders here, these birds and the alphabet were all adapted from and antique samplers. And what I did, well, let me show you the booklet first. So the booklet looks like this. And it actually opens up. It's actually, I can show you, it shows you a full-size picture here, and then the chart is on the inside, so it's a full-sized booklet. Let me tell you a little bit about that model. It was stitched on a 32 count fabric, a Belfast linen in Winter Moon, and the stitch count is 150 by 116. And then I decided there are so many pretty parts to this that I did a couple of smalls from this booklet. So I did a tiny pillow just using the bird with the letter, and just finished it with linen on the back and cording around the edges and a little button at the base. I also did a little scissor fob using one of the birds, and I used 2 colors of cording to finish that. I used a French General fabric on the back, and as I look at this piece, I can see using the swans. That would be beautiful with someone's initials for a wedding sampler. I could see using this little bird down in the corner. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Something happened. I disappeared. We'll see when this is published what I did. It's always good for laughs, right? We never know. I touch something and it goes away, and that scares me. So that was, let me pull this back again. That was an elegant stitch, and I do think it has motifs that could be used for little smalls. So let's slide that out of the way. This is a design that I've actually seen on quite a few Instagram posts. There are a couple of people, Joe Florence is one, and Isabella, I believe is her name, who are on Instagram, who have, I've talked about them before, they have the most beautifully curated photos of their work. They're just stunning. And I believe Isabella has posted this one, and I think she worked it in blue. She often has blues. But this is a rose motif sampler. It was finished with pillow ticking that was from an antique towel. And let me tell you a little bit about this design. It was worked on a cream 32 count Belfast linen. It was worked in Weeks Dye Works, and I do not remember the color, so let me look this up for you. Let's see, it was worked in Strawberry Fields. And once again, this is a booklet that opens to a full size. So that is, let me show you again, a rose motif sampler. I think this would be wonderful as a blessing sampler. So just an idea for you. And then I have, let's see, I think I have 3 or 4 more to share with you today. Always have to rearrange everything so I have room to put them back. So this one also I've seen on one of those pages that I just recommended and told you about. This is called the Birds and Berries sampler, and let's see what the booklet looks like. This was stitched on a 28 count linen in Irish cream, which is an R&R fabric, and it was stitched, let me look it up, in ribbon red from Classic Color Works. In the booklet it actually says it was from oh gosh, the old company was Crescent Colors, but Crescent Colors, as you know, is now Classic Color Works. So I think again this would be a wonderful blessing sampler, or just a sampler to stitch for yourself. All right, here's another one that falls into my favorite red category. This is called Alphabetique. Now, I do not believe that Alphabetique is a real word, but I kind of made that up because this is full of French motifs. And it includes the alphabet, of course, and hearts and crowns and a bee skep and a hot air balloon and fleur de lis and crowns. It was fun to put together. So let me tell you about this one. This was stitched on a 32 count Belfast in platinum. And let's see what red I used for this one. This also opens into a full-size booklet. So let's look at that. All right. I stitched this in Cherry Wine from Gentle Art. So that's Alphabetique. And another red sampler possibility for you. And then I have two more. One is not red, but one falls into the Valentine theme. So this booklet is called Love. And I always felt that this would be perfect for like a ring bearer's pillow or an anniversary sampler. You could put someone's initials and the dates of their anniversary below here. And so I have two models to show you of this piece. This one was stitched, I'll give you the details in just a minute. I'll show you the model first. So I finished this one, mounted it as a flat, and I mounted it on two comic boards, one covered with the polka dot and then one covered with this wonderful green fabric that I found that picked up all the colors in the piece. And I put a row of rickrack right under the design, and then it has a little holder so that it could hang from a knob on a door or a closet. So this was the model worked over two, and then I also worked that same model over one. And as I say, I'll give you the details. Again, this was mounted on a flat board on the front, and then used a different fabric for the back. And then I used pom-pom trim and a ribbon and a tiny little heart button up here in the corner. I wanted to tell you something about this one. I didn't do it on the over one, but I did it on the over two. So I'm going to bring this close, and I don't know if I turn it a little bit if you'll be able to see it, but I used, and I'll have to check my notes here, I used either a floss or a pearl cotton to stitch cross stitches in the background of this design, and it makes it look like the fabric is dotted Swiss. And I've done that before. I think it's going to be hard for you to see from this angle, but it gives it a little bit of dimension in the background, which I find quite interesting. So let's look at the details. This is the booklet. So the over two model was stitched on 32 count Belfast in antique white. The over one was stitched on a 28 Cashel antique white. Let's look up some more details on this. Do I have more details to tell you? Well, I used Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works. This is what I was looking for. I used a 12 pearl cotton for those little dots on the model over two in the background. And there's no way to do that without carrying your thread across from motif to motif to cross stitch, but it works. It doesn't show through on the front once it's mounted. So let's see, I have one more to show you, or is that it? No, one more here. It's in the pile. All right, so the last one that I want to share with you today is called A Joyful Purpose. And actually, my viewers helped me name this because I chose a quote that I found in a Quaker booklet that said, "Joy and work for labor." Actually, it wasn't a Quaker booklet. It was one of the books that I own that is Pennsylvania Samplers. "Joy and work for labors all, mark the work and effort small." And I really like that because it kind of describes what we love to do. And again, this uses borders and elements from antique samplers. So let's look at the details on this one. So A Joyful Purpose, the booklet looks like this. It was stitched on a 36 count linen winter moon. Let's look at the color. It's always interesting for me to see what did I choose. So there are actually 2 shades in this design. So I used a dark raspberry. Actually, I used DMC. 3350 is the darker shade, and then I used like a medium salmon color, and that is 3731. Oh dear, I forgot to take my phone off the hook. We'll have to just deal with that for the moment. I'm sorry about that. Okay, hopefully it will end soon. I'll keep talking and hope it goes away, right? So, what do I want to talk about next? I have prizes to give away. Let me pause for 1 second here and hope that phone call stops. Hey, it did. Yippee. All right, now we can move on. There are a lot of things when I'm getting ready, and sometimes I forget some of the steps. So I always go back and look at comments from my last video. And I use the random number generator, and I just choose 3 names using that. And any of the designs that I shared with you today, if you hear your name announced, just email me. That's really the best way to reach me, because the instant messaging doesn't work real well for me. I don't always see it. So my email is judy@jbwdesigns.com, and these are our winners for this week. We have Wilma Marks, MARX 9758. We have Vicky, and NOWER is how her comment is listed in my comment section. And then the third one is Susan from Colorado, and 623. So if you hear your name announced, just write to me and tell me what you'd like. So I'm going to give you some quick life updates. Our family had many birthdays in December, actually between December 19th and January 15th. 4 of my family members have birthdays. So our great-granddaughter Vea had a birthday. She was 1 on December 19th. Our granddaughter Ellie turned 16 on the 20th of December. Our grandson Liam turned 21 on 28th of December, and our son Mark, I'm not going to tell you how old he is, has a birthday on the 15th next week. So it's very hectic, but I do have a cute little picture to show you of Vea. So this was at her birthday party, and she's sitting in a sled, and I was so touched by this. I actually had forgotten about this sled. You can see she got a little pair of boots, and her mom says she loves shoes, although her feet are so tiny we can't find shoes to fit her. Anyhow, this is a sled that we bought for her daddy, our grandson Wyatt, for his first Christmas. And they kept it all these years, and our son and granddaughter repainted it and got it all fresh again and gave it to Vea for her birthday. And I've already seen pictures of her daddy pulling her around the yard in the snow, so it's very sweet. As I mentioned, I just started finished my models for Nashville. I have one more that I think I'm gonna fit in here. What can I give? I did a red one. I did another sampler that I just love that uses a phrase concerning gratitude, which is in my quotations last year. I tried to use that word gratitude, and each time I spoke with you. What else have I done? I am drawing a blank. I will give you more hints. I will show you them once I get them back before the Nashville market, so you can see what they look like. So what else do I want to say to you? I just want to finish quickly. This is the quotation that I found, and I thought it was appropriate because I mentioned in the last video that we have many viewers who struggle through the holidays. They have lost loved ones. They do not have family nearby, and my heart really kind of aches for them. And I think we need to be very cognizant of those of us in our midst who are struggling with loss, with illnesses, with all kinds of sadness in their life. And so I liked this quotation. You do not need to finish the year strong. You could meander through the month. Savor the slowdown. Nourish yourself with stillness, rest, and peace. And if you wanted, you could begin the new year gently instead. And I just thought I really liked the theme of that because, we want to help one another. We want to recognize and send hugs and prayers and love to those who are struggling. So my last little second here, Judy@jbwdesigns.com is my email. I have an Instagram account, judy.whitman. I have a page on Facebook called Friends of JBW Designs, and you're welcome to join that. You just have to answer a few questions. I think I'm only about 100, maybe 90 away from 5,000 on my friends page, and oh, would I love to reach that mark. Don't ask me why. It's just fun. So thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope I'm back in not a month, but less time than that. So thank you. Bye-bye.